And no one, I mean no one, is paying to see Angel Reese attempt to play basketball. Hell, not even Mama Reese is paying to watch this lack of skill.
Angel Reese showed up ready to play. Cameras were on, her name was trending, but when she looked around the arena, rows and rows of empty seats, the cheers, barely a whisper. Ticket prices, in the gutter. And the reason? Simple. Caitlin Clark wasn't there.
2% since Caitlin Clark's injury announcement, an average ticket price of $137, all the way down to $80. People are selling their tickets, definitely can't get face value, so what do? They just continue to lower and lower and lower and lower and lower the price.
This wasn't just a bad day at the office. This was a brutal reality check for the WNBA. On May 25th, 2025, Caitlin Clark suffered a left quad strain, just a minor injury expected to sideline her for about 2 weeks. But what followed was a total economic meltdown across the league. But here's the kicker. Ticket prices for the Indiana Fever's next few games collapsed nearly overnight, from $137 down to just $80. Fans weren't waiting to see how long Clark would be out. They saw the headline and ran for the exits. Scalpers started slashing prices left and right just to get anyone to buy in. And it gets worse. The Chicago Sky had just moved their June 7th game against Indiana from the Wintrust Arena to the United Center, the same arena where the Chicago Bulls play, seating over 21,000 people. Why? Because they expected Clark to draw a massive crowd. But now, the cheapest ticket dropped from $86 to $25.
People might be saying, oh, well, the teams aren't really going to suffer. They already sold the tickets. No. You don't understand. If the Chicago Sky moved into the United Center, and let's say resale-wise, they sold all 19,000, well, when only 9,000 to 10,000 show up, they're losing merchandise sales, they're losing food sales, they're losing beverage sales. They're losing big. They took a big gamble to get into that arena, and they're losing big because it's not going to be full, and those people aren't going to be buying things.
It was supposed to be a marquee showdown between Clark and Angel Reese. Instead, it's looking more like an empty scrimmage. The shift was instant, one analyst explained. The second Clark was out, so was the value. Now here's where things start to spiral. You might be thinking, okay, so ticket prices dropped. That happens. But this was a full-on nosedive. For the WNBA, ticket prices aren't just a number, they're a thermometer. And the temperature just dropped below freezing. Fans weren't just mildly disappointed that Caitlin Clark was out. They were refusing to show up altogether. Angel Reese, who had been hyped as Clark's biggest rival since their college days, couldn't keep the hype going without her. Even Chicago Sky fans, who had packed arenas earlier in the season, weren't interested anymore. Let's zoom in on what really happened. The June 7th matchup was supposed to be a major revenue day. Chicago had gambled big on moving to the United Center, hoping for record-breaking sales. They prepped merch stands, staffing, concessions, all in anticipation of a full house. But with Clark sidelined, it all collapsed.
The Sky relocated the game to the United Center, the home of the Chicago Bulls and the largest arena in the NBA, expecting a marquee matchup between Clark and Sky forward Angel Reese.
And this isn't just about Chicago. It's a league-wide ripple. One injury, just one, and suddenly, every WNBA team saw how thin the ice really is when it comes to depending on one player to carry the show. But what does this say about Angel Reese? The woman many claimed would carry the league now finds herself surrounded by empty seats and quiet arenas. The message from fans? They weren't there for Reese, they were there for Clark. But just wait, because the numbers behind this meltdown are even more brutal. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to like or subscribe. Thank you. The data doesn't lie, and it's ruthless. Since Caitlin Clark was sidelined, ticket resale sites saw panic across the board. For the Indiana Fever, resale prices dropped from $137 to $80 in less than 24 hours. And for the Chicago Sky, who had moved their game to a 21,000-seat arena expecting a sellout, the cheapest tickets fell from $86 to just $25. That's a 71% collapse overnight.
for the game have plummeted dramatically following Clark's injury announcement. Oh my goodness. Since it became likely she will miss the June 7th game, ticket prices have dropped a staggering 71%. Oh my goodness. Following from an entry price of $86 to just $25.
Now here's the wild part. These weren't small matchups. These were promoted as must-watch games, hyped rivalries, and headliner events. And yet the moment Clark exited, so did the demand. Fans didn't just flake, they straight up disappeared. Think about that. Fans would rather stay home than watch Angel Reese try to lead without Clark on the floor. And it wasn't just in-person attendance. The drop hit viewership too. According to Fox Sports, WNBA games featuring Clark and the Indiana Fever averaged 1.178 million viewers. Games without her? Just 394,000. That's almost 3 times fewer viewers. It's not even close. And the real stinger? The May 17th game between Clark's Fever and Reese's Sky drew 2.7 million viewers, the most watched WNBA regular season game in 25 years. That game alone peaked at 3.1 million viewers. One player turned casual fans into record-breaking audiences. But let's take this even further, because the money trail doesn't stop there. The numbers go beyond ticket sales and TV ratings. We're talking about a full-scale economic shift. According to league data and financial projections, Caitlin Clark was responsible for an unbelievable 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity during her rookie year. Let that sink in. More than a quarter of the league's entire financial output came from just one player. Here's where it gets even crazier. Early projections for 2025 say Clark could generate up to $875 million in total economic impact. And that includes everything: tickets, merchandise, TV rights, sponsorships, brand deals, and even local business boosts in cities hosting her games. To put it simply, Caitlin Clark is a billion-dollar brand walking around in a Fever jersey. Meanwhile, what's Angel Reese bringing in? Less attention, fewer tickets sold, and disappointing on-court results. The Chicago Sky are winless at 0-4, and their attempt to use Reese as the league's new marketing magnet is falling flat, hard. It's not even close, one financial analyst said. Clark is the league's economy. Everyone else is riding in her shadow. And this is where it hits the WNBA hard. They gambled big on promoting rivalries and storylines, but without Clark, there is no rivalry. Fans didn't come to see Reese. They came for Clark, and left when she did. But that's not the only warning sign. The next part should make league executives nervous. Empty arenas aren't just about bad optics. They cost real money. When the Chicago Sky moved their game to the United Center expecting Caitlin Clark to fill the seats, they weren't just banking on ticket sales. They were counting on food sales, merchandise, parking, and drinks. All of that collapses when the crowd doesn't show. Let's say 19,000 tickets are sold through resellers. Sounds good, right? But if only 9,000 fans actually show up, the losses pile up fast. That's thousands of people not buying jerseys, not grabbing popcorn, and not spending a dime inside the arena. Now here's where things really get uncomfortable. Some believed Angel Reese could carry the spotlight in Clark's absence. But with the Sky's poor start and dwindling attention, she's clearly not the backup plan the league hoped for. And it's not just Chicago struggling. All around the league, interest dips without Clark. Teams that once benefited from her road games are now seeing their attendance drop too. The Indiana Fever, with stars like Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell, are still competitive, but without their headliner? The buzz just isn't the same, and the ripple doesn't stop there. Merch sales have also taken a hit. Reports show Fanatics saw a 500% spike in WNBA gear sales after Clark entered the league. Take her out? That spike drops fast. But there's one final number that proves just how fragile this whole system really is. The final number is brutal and impossible to ignore. Out of the 24 WNBA broadcasts that pulled in over 1 million viewers last season, 21 of them featured Caitlin Clark. That's nearly 90% of the league's highest-rated games, depending on a single person. This isn't speculation. It's not hype. It's math. The top 3 games that packed arenas with over 20,000 fans? all involved the Indiana Fever. And even when Clark was on the bench, her presence was still enough to drive turnout. Her jersey, number 22, sold in every style imaginable. Iowa gear, Fever gear, retro throwbacks. Some fans even called her the female Peyton Manning of Indiana. But here's the dangerous truth. The moment Clark went down, the entire WNBA had to stop and take a hard look at itself. Without her, fans stop watching. Without her, tickets don't sell. Without her, rivals like Angel Reese can't draw crowds. The league might have grown in the past year, but it didn't grow wide. It grew tall, stacked on the shoulders of one player. And now that she's out, even temporarily, everything is shaking. It's a warning sign, one report noted. This league needs depth, not just one superstar. If the WNBA wants to survive long-term, they'll need to build real competition, develop more stars like DeWanna Bonner and Lexi Hull, and stop gambling everything on one name. Because if Clark ever chooses to go overseas or gets hurt again, the collapse could be worse.